Looking. Oh my god, this is
I'm afraid of genius that I was doing that upstairs last week.
Where?
This is different. See, this is
September.
last September.
That's okay, I have every record.
Oh, so you
I was like, on the reach. Ryan.
I like your hair. They're kind of sexual.
What brings you here?
I'm a counseling psych major, so I like this class is required.
You may be
But I didn't mean that like
required.
a real
No, it's a real
I
reason.
wanted to take it.
Yeah, and it's a real reason though. You're required. That's one of the first reasons I normally get. It's required. There might be something you'd rather be doing at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. I also agree with that.
I'm a counseling psych major too, so this is required for me as well.
So we have a lot of people so far who will be required to be here. What's that like?
Hi, Dr. Shar.
Hey. I had no idea, I'm trying to figure out what's up. Just walking in, you can sense it though, right? That they may be dead because so far the only thing anyone has said is that they're required to be here.
Oh.
And not as an insult.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Somebody like Dr. Shar?
Yeah.
I love you. Okay, I'll say I'm a psych major also, but I mean, yes, I have to take this class, but it's something that's very interesting to me, and it's going to teach me how to be a psychologist, so I don't think of it as I'm just a friend.
What might make it interesting? It'd be good for me to know how to make it competitive.
I think it's supposed to learning how to make yourself a better psychologist and what, like reading our book last night, and how there's not really like a clear cookie cutter form to being a psychologist, but that like you have to make it your own and make you the kind of psychologist you want to be, but having the tools to be able to do so and know what's going to make clients feel uncomfortable. It's really interesting.
I love where you started because you talked about making yourself a better psychologist, which I would broaden to making yourself a better person. Because you're going to be the most important tool in the room. Doesn't matter what assessments and instruments you may have. Doesn't matter what theory you're coming from or what your ideas might even be. But how you are in the room and just how you are as a human being, certainly a huge impact on who you are as a family. And it affects the people around you. And I have to tip my hand slightly. So usually in the therapy session, you don't always self-disclose. Certainly not this early in the session, but I do like to say you guys all credit.
Well, I'm not a
a psychology major. I'm social work. So I have to take arts and science classes, and I basically finished all of my social work classes and did my internship last year. But I liked how this class allowed you to learn more about the techniques, because you didn't learn that much about narrative therapy and the different things like that.
Whole journal assignment from narrative therapy. And don't tell the other people who may be here hoping to become psychologists. I'm actually not a psychologist either. I'm also not a social worker. So don't worry about not wanting to be a psychologist. I wanted to be a psychologist at one point, and then I changed my mind. Regrettably, after 3 years of a master's program in psychology, but that's a whole other story.
I came here. Well, I'm in this class for 2 reasons. One is a part of my major, and because that's what I was like, I have to have it. But also, I'm like, and I have a focus in counselor psych. So with this class, when I look at the overview and stuff like that, it's definitely gonna help me better understand a lot of like personality and stuff like that. And it's gonna help me learn more about myself and how I interpret things versus how other people interpret things. Even if it's like, it's gonna help me basically understand why people don't understand things they do. Because sometimes I'm like, how do they understand that? Why do they even do this? So it's gonna help me better understand in that way. And yeah, one more thing is pretty funny. Mr. Ellison and I went to the same camp this summer.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, who's Ellison? And he's like, Sandy. I'm like, yeah.
Which one was that?
It was a phone called Tuesday. We went for the same companies, but like we had like a whole big like session.
Very cool. Hi. I'm very good. A nice mix of people that I've had before. And some new faces that I don't know at all. Looks like, I'm trying to think, most of you took, this is how I know, something for HPD. Did anybody take personality with you? No one took your personality? So we're just revisiting HPD. So I think you took an HPD. I don't teach HGB this semester at all. There's 2 sections of counseling and a grad course on cognitive development. That's kind of like part of HGB. So what else? What should we go next? Some of you have been in this before, so you know.
What's the camera for?
It's a great question. What's the camera for? Anybody have any idea? You can guess, but not if you're able.
Sorry, I just can't sit more.
We're here for a long time, we might as well.
I know. That's for research and some sort.
Well, it could be for research. That would be a good hypothesis. What could I be researching?
Students using questions.
It could be studying students answering questions. That's a really good inference because so far all I've done is ask questions and waited for students to answer. So I certainly could be studying. Now, there might be another inference that we could make. Could be interested in studying personalities on the first day. What's your thought so far about personality in the group as a whole, the class as a whole?
As a whole.
Well, I don't know that we have enough data on any one individual yet.
It could be that everyone's still figuring out each other and figuring you out. So they're just gonna sit back and relax and come,
So you kind of say, I hear 2 things. One thing I hear is this could be a response to a new situation. And very often people in any new situation regress to a little bit of a startled type of position. You don't know what to do, it's safe, you don't talk to them, I'm not talking, it's a trick, it's in trouble, it's the things, it's going to go down. I also hear a second thing, which is that people could just be kind of hanging back and wait and see if other people talk, which we call social loafing, right? People could just be saying, well, there are enough people in here, as long as I stay quiet, somebody else eventually is going to talk. And that's generally true. Unless you happen to be that one person who really just can't stay in silence, and you're going to always be the person who will eventually talk. Two really good hypotheses about the personalities of the class. But we're back to the camera. Why? Studying you, studying personalities specifically, may be inferred from how people answer questions. They're not mutually exclusive. What else? How do I go back?
Maybe studying like body language and how that like relates to everyone in the room.
Sure. So we can make inferences also about character and people from body language.
I was going to say, you're comparing like this class with a class further on the semester to see how our views have changed.
That would be fascinating, wouldn't it? To know what you think today, and in 14 weeks from now, see if any of your ideas have changed. Or, what if your ideas absolutely totally stay the same? Because then you could explain why they stay the same, right? 14 weeks of information, you may have more data to support the theory that you're coming in with. It doesn't matter if you change or if you don't change. Doesn't that sound cool? Could you make an inference based on camera itself? Anything? I like the hypotheses. Guessing is always good. I like the hypotheses that you're throwing out. I'm wondering if there's anything that you might also be able to infer a little bit more from the camera itself.
Kind of looks like it's pointing in your directions.
It does, which might mean if I'm really trying to collect data on body language, how people respond in a class personality, I may have a vital flaw in that I'm not actually looking at your eyes, so it's going to be hard to make those inferences based on reviewing the video, right? So with that, do you have any other ideas? Thank you. Maybe I'm studying myself and how I am in the first place, which is really the reason I'm having it. I'm always interested in pedagogy and technique in a classroom, especially on the first day. And as many of you know, I've done this in many of the first classes if you've been in with me before. I do in all my classes, so if you ever take a class with me, you're going to do the same thing. I relate it to what we're teaching, trust me. But this time I decided to take it, just to kind of have some record so that I could maybe one day write a paper about opening the first day. But I won't put you guys on the spot. I want to focus on me and what I do. And what I do that gets responses or doesn't get responses. I could say something that doesn't get a response. Guess what? Either way, that's so fascinating. I do something and people are like, oh yeah, I have an idea, and they want to start answering. That's interesting. If I ask a question and people are like, they don't make eye contact, look at me. I don't pretend to answer me. It's a nice HGD concept, right? From very early on in cognitive development. A child may take the perspective, you don't see me. I don't see you. You can't see me. Guess what? We haven't jettisoned that part of our character. It's still in us today. And if things get tough, we'll go back to that type of thing. It's fascinating, right? How come? How come that might be fascinating? If I ask a question and nobody answers, how's that going to be helpful? I might have asked it in a way that wasn't a great way. So I'm going to ask it now in a different way. It tells me something diagnostically. Let me ask you this. Does it mean it was a bad question? No. Because I could ask it on Thursday when I also have a section of counseling, and they might respond. Now we get back to the character of the people that are in the room. The same question asked to two different people. One may respond the way you were hoping by saying something else. Another may respond by there's no bad questions. It's all going to give you information. This particular person likes these types of questions to help keep them going. Not these types of questions. The name for that kind of research. It blow my mind if you words is term idiographic research, right? Researching a single case and being able to kind of understand from that single case what works for that particular person. That's in comparison to nomothetic research, which is the research that we usually, when we say the word research, we often are talking about that. Talking about research where we could study a population, right? And then apply it to other people. Take this bit of information and say, okay, here's something I know now about college students. Here's something I know, let's say, about this study. Here's something I know about college students on the first day of class. Generally, they're more quiet than they are on the last day of class. I've got data because I've studied a lot of different classes, and I can predict future class behavior based on it. That's the research most people do. Idiographic, really getting to know somebody, is really counseling research. At its best, but also at its most difficult. Because single case studies take a lot of time to do. Not quite, about 18 minutes in. What else?
About the camera?
Either. Any? Would anybody if anybody not respond because they'd be afraid of the camera picking up their voice? I can tell you the microphone's really hard. Probably unlikely that anybody will hear anything. I'll be sitting, the volume turned up away. I'm going to try to understand even what I'm saying, and I'm trying to project a little bit. Now, that I asked that question, I also have to wonder, would somebody answer the question, even answer that question, right? They might not. If I'm answering a question, the camera would pick up their voice. You could not. I could promise to delete it, but then you'd have to trust me. You have no reason to trust me. Right? It could be a lie. Blast off. Sounds like it's right underneath. If we blast off, is there any place people would like to go? Is there a place you'd rather be here? Oh, good. Where? Bed?
Bed.
Bed on the other campus.
Yeah.
Party. Is this location better for anybody? So I'm working off of a hypothesis. People are required to be here. And not only are they required to be here at 8 a.m., but they have to come all the way over from the other campus to come to the court, which is probably, what, 15-minute walk? Leave 15 minutes early? You would only have to leave 5 minutes if you were going to the classroom. You have a lot of things that are going against this class so far. Am I right?
Oh, we're commuters. So we were talking about how early
I'm
we
saying I
have
had to wake up
get
even
up to
earlier.
get
I
here.
got on the train from Quincy, so.
What time did you have to leave?
I had to wake up at 6:30.
Okay. I woke up at 5:20, not that we're competing, but okay.
That's okay. Well, I've been waking up at 5 every day this week for work, so I haven't really gotten a lot of sleep.
So this class might let you get to bed, and it might let you get
Yeah, I
a little bit more
actually have
sleep.
woken up earlier to get here than every day this week, so that's really good.
How about you? Where are you?
I'm driving from Lexington, so I have to wake up at 6.
Now, is this campus easier for you for being a commuter?
No, I mean, I park in one of the garages that's like right behind the Windsor School,
Okay.
so it's fine.
Are you aware that up in, don't tell a lot of people this, but up in Washington Square on Beacon Street, there are 10-hour meters, and it's 25 cents per 30 minutes. So for $5, you could park for an entire day. And then you could just take the T here to Hall Street, it's only 2 blocks. Or you could walk. It'd be a bit of a walk. I've done it many times, but you could take the T or you could walk. And I'm assuming $5 might be less than the penny
Yeah.
parking.
Yeah.
And at this time in the morning, there's always a spot. Washington Square. So if you go out, everybody knows where Beacon Street is, right? Make a left. You have to go past Cleveland Circle. And then usually the best thing to do is to bang a U and come back. And there's meters with green stickers. The green stickers are 10 hours. The red ones are 4. You can actually come all the way almost to Cleveland Circle if you only need a 4-hour spot. So for this class, you could technically squeeze into a 4-hour spot unless you have something to do after this class, in which case take the 10-hour spot. And in the 10-hour spot, you don't need to spend $10, 10 hours either. You're only going to be here for 6 instead of 6. Commuters, I often found this campus until enough people have heard this story and they don't find these funds. Right now, you're okay. So we're starting a class with a lot of things against us for most of us. The location, the time, the requirement. It might be responsible, might be, for people not talking. Who could be harboring angry feelings. Would it be helpful to talk about it? You're in a good position because I don't know your names. So feel free to complain and bitch about anything that you want.
So we're allowed to change the location?
I don't know that I can change the location. Honestly, only because my office is now here. They moved my office over here. So it is easier for me.
Oh.
But I still get up at 5:20. I have to take the T all the way to Brookline Village. And then I bike to Brookline Village to here.
You take your bike on the train?
No, I leave my bike in Brookline Village. That's all I have to do. I live on the North Shore. Take a bus and then the T to come in. And I go and get my bike and then I bike here to the bike. All my spots. So, your main complaint is that wouldn't it be great if we were in a better location?
I mean, I'm not complaining.
course you are. Don't take it back. Very good. I'm inviting you to complaints. Let's hear other complaints. 9 o'clock. Well, is this your only 8 a.m. class?
All my other classes are like 5 to
5:10 at night?
Fast 5 to
Yeah. Well, though, especially if it's a 3-hour class, you gotta have a good instructor. Noon would be convenient. Hop in, eat, learn, go out, take a nap, have dinner, 35 o'clock. Yeah. What other complaints?
What other complaints?
Yeah.
I like this campus because the cafeteria opens with a little weapon. So if I don't eat before I come here, I'm starving.
So there's no food here
There's
for
a vending
11?
machine.
That's not food. Jen, I mean, I don't know, I'll be honest, I have not looked in the vending machine. But then I am of the school that I believe that food, like I have one criteria for food. Food generally has an expiration date. So if you're eating something that does not have an expiration date, or they just put an expiration date on it for people like me, but that expiration date is 3 years from now, like on a Twinkie, I don't know that the Twinkie actually expires. I think we just put that on there to make us buy and eat the Twinkie within 3 years. It's basically not to eat it in 3 years. But I don't think that that's no food. Food, like, decays and rots and goes bad. Like meat and fruits and vegetables. And you can't probably get that. Most vending machines aren't very good at stuff. I did once, this was like I saw a vending machine. Yeah. You have to be in a place where they'll sell, otherwise you're going to rot vending machine. But that is a major complaint, that there's, so 11 o'clock is when the cafeteria opens, that is late.
And then it's like 20 minutes after class and stuff.
We do have a lot of nice places that do not explored St. Mary's. There's Tate's, move on there, bakery. Really, really good, like if you're into brioche, any kind of really nice French pastries. They sell these nut boxes. They're the best thing you'll ever eat. They're like dough filled with nuts, filled with like stuck together with like honey and sugar. May not fit my food category exactly, but worth ordering and eating a nut box. It'll last at least a week. And you wouldn't want more than just a little bit. It's very calorie dense. And they have good coffee. There's a Dunkin' Donuts across the street, bless you. There's a Whole Foods right next to that now. This Dunkin' Donuts, I think, is always, and this back when I was teaching in the classroom building, this was still the Dunkin' Donuts I go to because it's one of the closer Dunkin' Donuts. Unless you go into Longwood.
You're going to the gas station.
Yeah, I don't go to the gas station ones. I don't know why. I'm afraid it's got like gas. I want my coffee for gas, but not with gas. Have you ever had the coffee from the gas?
That's good, but like after I went to the Brookline one, I'm like, I can't go to Longwood or the gas station. If I'm near Brookline, I'll go to the Brookline one. Because it's like, I think kind of I'm like a Dunkin' Donuts snob. Like there's certain ways like I have to have my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and if they don't make them, I'm tired. I won't go.
I have one that is right down the corner from my house, and I won't go there because it doesn't taste right. They never do it.
Yeah, like if you don't listen, I'm just like, no, I can't do this anymore. Like, coffee makes or breaks my day, and if you can't just listen to junk food.
Does anybody work at
Don't worry.
Not so much about of uniformity.
Wait, which one do you work in?
Back home.
Oh.
Where's home?
Lowell.
Lowell.